So.
Dance off, bro. Me and you.
Are you ever not going to fall for that?
You ready for another bout?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Side Scheme, a podcast about everybody's favorite superhero card game, Marvel Champions. I'm your host, I'm BananaCrapshoot. Tommy of Titan, unfortunately, is unable to join me tonight because he is spearfishing off the coast of Fiji, like Tom Hanks in Castaway. But with me tonight, from the Take 3, from the Critical Encounters podcast is Steve. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to switch spots with Tommy, though. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Wilson, we're going to try to keep this short and sweet and keep this thing moving. But yeah, so I just wanted to real quick give you a chance to plug your latest podcast episode because it is a must listen, in my opinion.
Thanks. We just released issue 43 on Tuesday. We did an interrogation room with Molly Glover, who's a producer at FFG, so she is involved in making sure the game gets put out there. She works with the developers, the art director, all sorts of stuff. So we got to sit down with her. We talked to her all about what it means to produce a game at FFG. She does Marvel, she does the X-Men game, and a couple others. She's an all-around super geek, maybe more so than I am even. And we just had a good time. We got to talk Marvel a whole bunch, FFG, and then we just sort of talked general geekdom. It's a good listen, so check it out.
Some good tangents and some good peek behind the curtains for what goes on at FFG for product development. It is definitely a great listen, and I will have Critical Encounters linked in the show notes.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to touch real quick on Scheme League Season 6. Sixth season, Tommy of Titan and Scott were the winners. They had Captain America and Captain Marvel as their heroes. We also drafted unique cards instead of just heroes and allies. And they took home the W. So congratulations to Scott and Tommy. And information for Season 7 of the Scheme League Draft League will be coming out soon.
Yeah, I heard how you drafted the unique cards, and that sounded like a neat mechanic. A change from previous years, previous leagues. Previous years in those other seasons. But that sounded neat. Drafting unique cards, kind of stealing them away from other people. So that sounds fun.
Right. Like up to this point, we've drafted like a hero and aspect together. This time, all the unique cards were in the draft pool. So it limited your deck building a little bit and made you make some tough choices and was a lot of fun. Let's jump right into Ant-Man. We want to talk about the Ant-Man hero a little bit. So, Steve, I'll give you a chance. You told me you had some Ant-Man stuff you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure we always talk about the villains, so it's fun to talk about the heroes. And I've been playing a ton of Ant-Man, and he's like two heroes in one because you get to be a tiny hero and you get to be a giant hero. And that double flip mechanic, the unfolding card, the big size, just I'm finding it to be a great time, and really get my enjoyment level up a little bit playing him. I think he's pretty strong. He's self-sufficient. He does a little bit of everything. He works with all the aspects, so a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think he's a lot of fun. He might have dethroned Thor as like my favorite hero to play. It might be recency bias. That's the hot new thing, but the hook of Ant-Man, it hooked me, and I'm all in on Scott Lang, tiny, big, flipping, unfolding, folding, paper airplane cards. I'm down.
Paper airplane cards, origami. That's the only thing. You just can't fold them into like an actual ant. That'd be even better.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm all in too. I just completed a 4-player campaign playing Ant-Man Aggression and just laying the hurt down and still being able to help with some thwarting and other stuff. Just a lot a lot of Ant-Man time lately. So
A lot of Ant-Man time is a lot of good times. So
yeah.
Alrighty, so you want to, I guess we'll go through the hero kit a little bit, and then we'll hit some of his aspect cards that come with him. Some cards we like out of his pack. We'll go back and forth a couple cards. I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think key to him is the Ant-Man's helmet, that 3-cost upgrade. Hero response, you change to giant form, heal 2 damage, or you change to tiny form, draw 1 card. It just plays into that flipping. Every time you flip, you're healing damage or drawing cards, so it's like facilitating letting you stay in hero form longer because you get to heal. You don't have to flip back and recover. Or cards are always good. It's a card game, right? So I think Ant-Man's helmet is that 1 card I want to see as quick as I can, mulligan for it, get it out right away.
Yeah, I agree. The card's a huge enabler and really capitalizes on what you want to do with him anyway. Mine, the first one I'll pick is Resize, 0-cost event, change to your other hero form, draw a card. This adds to the versatility of Ant-Man. Right, so you can flip with your normal flip, go to tiny, thwart a little bit. You're drawing a card from Resize, and you flip to, and if you have the helmet out, you're drawing another card with that response, and then you resize or use your normal flip to go big, and then you get to heal and attack. So it just adds to the versatility of Ant-Man.
Yeah, if you could have that turn where you have 2 resizes in your hand, flip. So,
yeah, big small.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I agree. Resize is great. Super key to his enjoyment factor. My next card, I think that ties right into both of those, is the Pim Particles, a resource card. Right? Hero response, after you spend this card, heal 2 damage from your hero if you're in giant form, or draw 1 card if you're in tiny form. And it produces a wild. So it's right on brand with what the other ones are doing, right? You're healing or drawing. I just think it's so much fun to have a resource card that does more than just produces resources. It does something else. It just seems to work great with Ant-Man too.
Right, and I love the design space that resource card opens up for future heroes and future resource card designs, because so far we've had the enhanced resources, the hero resources like God of Thunder, or the double resource cards. So having a different design space to go through to have resource cards do something else is pretty cool, and I look forward to see if that continues in the future, where it thematically makes sense.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see other options in that resource card type.
My next card I'm going to hit is Army of Ants. There's 3 of them. It's a 1-cost support. Hero action. If you are in tiny hero form, exhaust Army of Ants, deal 1 damage to an enemy. All these cards, they make the whole thing run good. They all complement each other and play off each other very well, and Army of Ants is one of those things that does that. Flip to tiny, you can deal 3 damage, you're thwarting. You're having a bunch of, we can call them micro actions. You're doing a couple...
You mean tiny actions?
Yeah, tiny actions. You're doing multiple small actions instead of 1 big swing. But those small things add up with Ant-Man.
Yeah, I like the Army of Ants because if you got a couple of them out, you can ping off a tough, you can kill off a minion who's wounded. Doesn't matter if you're stunned or not, because it's not you, it's the ants doing it. And it's not an attack, so no retaliate or anything like that.
Right, yeah. So that works pretty well.
Yeah, the last one I had out of his kit was the Giant Strength, which is the 1-cost upgrade hero response. After you change to giant hero form, you get +1 attack to the end of the turn. And since the goal is to be flipping back and forth, you should be able to get that plus attack often. And if you can get 2 of these guys out, you could be at a 5 attack. So you can, Ant-Man can swing for quite a bit. And if you have redding effects or things like that, keep hitting because it's to the end of the turn. So, I it's just fun.
Right. Do you find, just quick question, do you find the hand sizes, like, because when you flip to big, right, if you end in big, then you're at 4. Do you find that 4 hand size, like, as much of a feel bad as some people think it is in Thor and Hulk and She-Hulk? Or do you find that he just draws so much that it doesn't matter?
I think he draws enough to where it doesn't matter. I also do my best to, not always, but try to end in tiny form, so you get the 5 hand size. So you can start your turn in small, flip to giant, get your giant strength. But if you do end as a giant form, and then you flip into tiny, and you've got your helmet out, or you've got a resize, you're drawing enough cards. It doesn't feel prohibitive like it does, say, in Hulk or She-Hulk. I don't think Thor suffers from the small hand size either, with all his engagement shenanigans. So
yeah, I agree. I agree with what you said about Thor, especially.
It is a little funny that the larger version of Ant-Man has a smaller hand size.
Well, he's got to overcompensate somehow.
Yeah. I think it's kind of on brand too, though. Like Hulk, She-Hulk, Thor, the bigger, the stronger they are, the smaller their hand size. So
apparently, when Ant-Man goes to giant form, everything grows except his hands.
Yeah, little tiny, bizarro hands.
Yeah. Any other Ant-Man cards you wanted to hit, or you want to move into some of the other stuff he's got?
I just want to maybe just mention a couple. I really liked Stinger, that Cassie Lang, his daughter, who's that 1 cost and doesn't count towards your ally limit, so you can push up if you're playing leadership. Maybe get 6 allies out and play at once. That's kind of cool. And then the other leadership one I really like in his is Moxie. So when you change form, you get +1/+1/+1 to the end of the round, and you might be able to flip form a couple times, and Moxie doesn't cost anything, so you can have some big turns for stat boosts, which is kind of neat. I like both of those. Those are cool.
Yeah, and it works well with like She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and those other heroes that want to flip a lot.
Yeah. The other one I was wanting to get your thoughts on was Swarm Tactics, the team-up card, where you need Ant-Man and Wasp both in play. You can only have 1 in your deck, and then it says, hero action, change to your other hero form, ready your hero.
I mean,
what do you think of that one?
I mean, I think it's strong enough that I would run it like an Ant-Man all the time. I mean, being the ready is, I think, what makes it so strong.
Yeah, I agree. I played a few times with it not in there. I thought, boy, I have to have the Wasp ally. I have to have this. Like, I felt like it was too much. And then I put it in. It's like, oh no, it's not that bad. Because the Wasp ally is a good card to have out anyways. She kind of plays off the theme of what form you're in. She does different stuff when she comes out. So you want her out anyways. And then being able to change, that's Ant-Man shtick. So the more times you can change, the better. And then being able to ready up, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the ready's so if you start in tiny, right, and you flip to giant, get your attacks in, then you can resize back, draw up, and then you can like swarm tags to flip again, right? So you could trigger your giant strength response twice because it doesn't say like limit once or whatever. So if like you start tiny, flip back with like a resize or swarm tactics, but the swarm tactics works better because you get the ready out of it. So like you start tiny.
I hear what you're saying.
Start tiny, go big, do your attacks for 5, then you resize back, draw up, and then you swarm tactics back to big, and then you're swinging for 7 on that second one. You get the giant strengths again, plus you're healing and you're drawing. Like swarm tactics just helps like push him over the top in my opinion, because that ready is sneaky super strong with the giant form.
I agree.
So, and I mean, and the more ways you can ready your hero, usually the better. So you have 3 readies in your deck if you include Swarm Tactics, like without Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So
I like that it's not unique. So we're gonna get the same card in Wasp, right? I can't see how we don't. And then, but the max 1 per deck. I like not having to make that decision of, how many of these do I want to put in my deck, or Ant-Man's gonna get it, not Wasp. So I like the mechanics there of how they limit it. So
right. I mean, and it's cool design. I mean, we know there's a team up card coming in Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I think it's called Chaos and something. I don't remember the full name of it. But we know that team up cards are going to be a thing. So I look forward to future ones of those too.
Yeah, I'm curious if they'll go and give us team up cards for previous, heroes. Everybody wants the Hawkeye Ant-Man on the Arrow team up, stuff like that. I wonder if they will, or if it's that ship has sailed. So.
Right.
Yeah, Order and Chaos. That's the name of the
Order and
Silver
Chaos.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Have you messed with the Giant Man ally at all?
Yes. The one that gets bigger if he has hit points? Is that the one we're thinking of?
He's a 5 cost. He's 2 Thor, 2 attack. Avenger Giant. So you can use another card team building exercise to reduce his cost. And he gets +2 attack while he has 3 or more remaining hit points. So you have like team training out, throw a reinforced suit on him, and he's got 4 attack for like 3 attacks.
Yeah. And then maybe pop a power gloves on him because he's attacking a whole bunch and you're dealing even more damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty strong.
Yeah, that looks like a good combo. They gave us some interesting allies in this pack. With Stinger, giving us a higher limit, Ronan getting boosts from attachment, Giant Man having this neat effect. The Hank Pym version of Ant-Man, right? The original Ant-Man, where you can overpay for him, or so however much you want to invest in him, he gets bigger and better. So there's some cool allies in this set.
Yeah, I think this pack is like a really good like pre-constructed deck. Like it's a pretty powerful probably like if you like Doctor Strange is just so strong by himself, but if you eliminate like the invocation deck, like the protection, like that deck is good, but it's not the best. Or like Black Widow is probably like the best pre-constructed deck to this point. I think this Ant-Man deck takes that like spot as the best out of the box deck to play. Just like fun, enjoyment, and power level, like all of it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that Ant-Man's kit itself just works well. So he can work with any aspect, and even if you sort of just focus on his kit cards, you're going to do all right. And then, with some help from the rest of them. So from whatever aspect you put in there. Right.
I mean, like even Captain America came leadership, but that pre-constructed deck felt like really like playing that deck out of the box. Because I always play the pre-constructed deck like 1 or 2 games before I tear it apart. And like the Captain America one, like was good because of Captain America, but like the leadership part of it like felt kind of clunky. This one didn't feel that way to me. It felt like just all worked.
Yeah, it synergizes with the leadership piece. So yeah, yep, I agree.
You want to hit any of these off aspect cards?
The only one I thought was interesting in regards to Ant-Man was Lay Down the Law. After you change forms, remove 3 threat from a scheme. 4 instead if you paid for it using a mental resource. So if you do go thwart, or if you go justice with him, that Lay Down the Law seems like a almost an auto include because you're going to be flipping, and for one resource you can pull off 3 threat. So
it's a 1 cost 4 justice.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
You just have to time it right. So
yeah, every round.
yeah.
Because I mean, it doesn't have to say tiny form. It just is after you change form, and you're changing forms every round. So
Yep.
with Ant-Man. So
I mean, and technically it works for any hero, but you have to be an alter ego, flip to hero form. Ant-Man, you can go from hero form to hero form. So,
right.
Yeah.
I was on the late night gaming stream a couple weeks ago, and I played Captain America Protection, and I threw 1 copy of Muster Courage in, and that was it's not as good obviously as the Doctor Strange one that gives tough status cards out, but it was like I had it in as a one of, and I thought it like did work for the group, like keeping people's allies out or having it so people didn't have to flip to alter ego to recover, and they could just sit in hero form an extra turn. Like Muster Courage is like better than I originally thought it was going to be.
Oh sure, especially if you're playing expert, and that third stage of the villain usually can hit for quite a bit, or has some special effect when they hit. So having tough out on 3 characters can be pretty potent, especially if you just need a little, another round or 2 here to finish them off. So.
But yeah,
I haven't actually put it in a deck yet.
Like I don't know if I'd run 3, but like some cards are like decent as a one of, and like I think Muster Courage is like, if you got like 1 or 2 spots in a protection deck you know what to do with, and you're playing in like a 4-player game on expert, Muster Courage is worth a spot, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
If I was playing solo, I probably wouldn't worry about it, but like multiplayer, when you can hit other players and allies, like it's like hitting I threw tough status tokens on like with like Goliath and like Giant Man, because Pone was playing Captain Marvel leadership, so I was like putting stuff status tokens on like his allies so that they could stay beefy and like keep laying down the hurt on Red Skull.
Yeah, that's a good tactic.
But yeah. Anything else in his kit you want to hit?
No, I think that's it. I've been having a good time with him. He's pretty cool. Definitely fun. So
Lots of fun, and I think he's like he's not like Doctor Strange broken, but he's like right there with like that next spot, like right. He's like a top 3 hero in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
He's good.
So this is the Scott Lang version, not the Henry Pym. Do you know? This is my pop quiz. Do you know when Scott Lang, Ant-Man, first appeared in the comics?
Not without a Google search. No.
Yeah. So he shows up as Scott Lang in March 1979 in Avengers 181, and then in April he makes his debut as Ant-Man in 1979. In the Marvel premiere number 47.
So he's been around a while.
Yeah. He's not quite as old as me, but he's getting there. So.
Yeah, he's not like Spider-Man old, but he's
yeah.
He's been bugging out for a while.
Yeah, and I like his comic book history and his Marvel MCU history are fairly close. They have the same feel and flavor, with Cassie and being a burglar and his electronics expertise. He gets tangled up with Darren Cross and Hank Pym and stuff like that. So I think they do a good job of him in the movies, kind of tying him into how he is in the comics, at least in spirit. So
very cool.
Yeah, that always helps me too. If the theme of the card and the mechanics of the card all kind of line up, I like that.
I mean, it makes the whole like experience more enjoyable, right? Like we're playing Marvel superheroes and we want to feel like a superhero. So if the comic representation is thematic to the gameplay experience, it always helps the enjoyment for me.
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty, so I think that does it for Ant-Man, everybody's favorite bug boy. We will transition to what I'm going to call Flame On, which is going to be some hot takes. So eventually in the future, I would like to evolve this into listeners send us in hot takes, and then we have to say like buy or sell, if we're in or out on that hot take. But for this inaugural edition, we're just going to do it to each other. So we'll each have 2 or 3 hot takes. We'll bring it up and then we'll talk about it for a minute, if we think that's a good hot take or a bad hot take. And we'll see how it goes. It's just an idea I thought could be a fun little segment.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
And you didn't know anything about this, right? This is the first time you're hearing about this?
Yeah, thanks for springing it on me.
Right, so I'll kick it off. So my initial Flame On hot take is that Counterpunch is a terrible card. Don't ever put it in a deck. It's bad. Your thoughts?
I gotta look Counterpunch up because I don't usually put it in a deck.
Oh, so you agree. So maybe this isn't such a hot take. Well, I can tell you what it is. I have it up.
I got it up here, yeah. Go ahead.
It's a 0-cost event, Counterpunch, protection card. Response attack after your hero defends against an enemy attack. Deal damage to that enemy equal to your hero's attack. And the flavor text is, "That's what you get, Iron Fist." This must be before, spoiler warning, Moon Knight steals the power of the Iron Fist from him.
Oh. It seems like a good card. 0 cost for a free attack.
Alright, so there's a couple things about this. Alright, one, you have to defend against an attack first. Okay?
Okay. So you gotta exhaust.
Right. So, I mean, that's fine. You're going to exhaust in the hero phase of attack, right? So this lets you defend against an attack. If you're using Captain America, right, you can defend, you get the retaliate ping for the shield, and then you get your 2 attack, right, and you can ready with Captain America. So it doesn't seem terrible. But let's look at this in the context of Ant-Man, right? He's got that giant strength, 2 copies, he gets +1/+1 attack. The thing is, that only lasts to the end of the turn. So he's back to 3 if you're stuck in giant form and you try to defend. So, and then you're exhausted, right? And you want to flip, and then you can't do as many things. Doing more things is better than doing less things. Ant-Man really soured me on Counterpunch.
Okay, so wait. Giant Strength says until the end of this turn, not this phase.
This turn,
and not
right.
the end of your turn. End of this turn.
This turn. It's your turn when your turn's over.
That's some bad wording. It should say until the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean...
I'm going to check to see if there's a rulings on Hall of Heroes for that, because I could see someone bringing up a question about it.
The one thing is, probably you're defending... If you're going to defend, your hero might not actually have a very high attack, right? So most of the time it's... Maybe you're hitting for 2. And this card would be really cool in a Miss Marvel because she could recycle it and do double damage with it. Except her attack is a 1, right? So it's terrible. So you could still hit for 2. Although she has to exhaust to get the card back, but she has to exhaust to defend. And characters like Hulk or Thor, who might have or Hawkeye, who might have a higher attack. You probably want them attacking so they can trigger other effects when they attack, Hulk smash or use a bow. So yeah, you're only, you hit for 2 maybe 3. I don't know.
I just think it limits your options.
Yep.
And takes up unnecessary cards and resources out of your deck in hand. All right, so you're in on that hot take.
Yeah, I'm warm on that hot take.
You're warm, lukewarm. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you a chance to come at me with a hot take.
Okay, I have one actually. I think this is a co-op or solo game, so there's no such thing as a broken player card. I hear a lot of people say that card's broken. It's broken. It ruins the thing. It's too powerful. But since this is a solo game or a co-op game, it's not competitive. There's no championships. There's no head-to-head. You can just not play that card. You just don't have to have it. Most people put 40 to 50 cards in their deck, and the rest of the collection sits in a box. A card you think is broken can just sit in your box. That's my hot take.
You don't think that cards that are quote unquote broken could potentially limit future design?
I think the developers can just ignore it. I mean, if they're going to make Doctor Strange, they're not designing every deck around Doctor Strange. They're designing the decks like a scenario around whatever the theme is or however they want to build that villain. And while yes, like a Doctor Strange is going to walk through it, they've accepted that already.
Right. Well, and so I'm in on this hot take. I agree with you. They've said before, like, their first and foremost, like, priority isn't, like, they don't really think about power level, like, too much, that they're worried about the theme and, like, does the character feel like the character when you're playing the character? So that's why, like, Doctor Strange feels like Doctor Strange. And yeah, his hero kit is fine. Like, the invocation deck is what's wild, but those are all one-ofs. I mean, you can cycle them pretty consistently, but like you said, it's a co-op game. We're playing it for fun. We're playing a kids card game for fun, right? So, yeah, I'm in on that.
Yeah, I do think maybe something it could limit future design space if they have some cards that are super amazing, or a basic card that's super, super great, and then they want to design another basic card that does a similar thing but isn't as amazing. So people are going to be like, why would I play this instead of that? But that's that personal preference, right? If you think that card's busted or just too good, you just don't play with it.
Well, and the other thing is, like, most of those cards that would be considered broken are limited to the hero kits. I mean, there's some, like, really, really strong allies, but you need, like, other cards and other things to enable, like, them to be so strong. So, I think with the broken stuff being mostly limited to the hero packs, they don't really have to worry about the future design as much.
I think so. It's just a hot take.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. All right, so my next hot take. All right, so I don't know how to word this. How I want to word this. So there's a 40 card deck and a 50 card deck. You can have it anywhere in that range. A lot of people, like on Discord and Facebook, Reddit, wherever, they want to build 40 card decks because they think it's the most optimized, the most efficient size to run your deck, right? Because you'll go through it faster, you'll see your cards. Those same people think that deck thinning doesn't matter, and I think that's a bunch of nonsense. Because if you don't think deck thinning matters, then go play with a 50 card deck. That's my hot take. If deck thinning doesn't matter, play with a 50 card deck, because you're automatically thinning to 40 to get a thinner deck right off the jump anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm all in on this one with you. I think, yeah, if you're gonna have to build an optimized deck at 40 all the time, then deck thinning does matter. But I don't think you need to build a 40 card deck all the time. I've built plenty of 50 card decks that work, that are fun. I get to slot in a few more of those one-ofs here and there. Unlike, I came from a Lord of the Rings LCG background. I played a ton of that, right? 9 years worth of that card game. And you draw one card a turn. And in that game, minimum deck size matters because you only drawing one card a deck, one card a turn, unless you have card draw. And this one you're drawing 5, 6 cards, maybe more. Sometimes 4, depending on which hero you're playing. But you can burn through your deck once or twice in a game, even with 50 cards in the deck, depending on your playstyle, right? So you're going to see all your cards anyways. And if you have multiple copies of your cards, you're going to see them. You got a better chance of seeing them. And those cards are your resources, so you're pitching some of them. So you need more of them to see them again. So,
right. And I had, I see the discussions. People say like some people think deck thinning matters more than other people. I'm of the opinion that. So I have like a hypothesis that like for newer players that are like struggling, because there's people that struggle on standard with this game. Not everyone is a super alpha power gamer. There's lots of new players, new to card games, coming to this card game. So the biggest like win percentage increase, my hypothesis is that it comes from people that effectively like deck thin as they're playing. I'm not saying they deck build thinking about deck thinning, but as they're playing, they're thinning their deck like more than other people.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the real benefit of the deck thinning, not just you're going to get to your events, is you have more stuff in play. That means you have more upgrades, you have more supports, you have more triggers every turn, right? If you've put out all your armies of ants and both your giant strengths and your helmet and your gauntlets, and then you're flipping, you're just doing more anyways.
And your team building exercises and your right. So
your Quinn carriers and your Avengers mansions and all that sort of stuff. You're just getting more actions anyhow, consistently.
Doing
and then,
more
things. You're gonna dig through those allies who have died in those events that much quicker. But you're also just getting those cards out and enjoying them. So
generally, doing more things is better than doing less things, right? So
yes,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I wrote an article on deck thinning probably a couple months ago. I counted them up the other day. We have like 83 published articles right now. Got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. But like even, I don't remember the math off the top of my head, but even like deck thinning by like 5 or 6 cards, like it doesn't make a huge difference, but it makes a significant difference. Like if you thin your deck from 40 to 30 cards, your percentages of seeing like giant stomps later on, when you're trying to close out the game, are much higher. I'm not saying you deck build for deck thinning, but the main point of this hot take was, if you're one of the people out there that say deck thinning doesn't matter, then go play with a 50 card deck. Because if you're playing with a 40 card deck to optimize, then you saying deck thinning doesn't matter is nonsense to me. All right, so you're in on that one. So I'll give you the floor for your second flame on hot take.
Okay, I'm gonna go with I don't think higher difficulty equals more enjoyment. I don't think a game has to be hard for it to be fun. You kind of mentioned it. We've got people of all kinds that play games, people that are new to card games playing it, that have a difficulty playing standard. And I don't think just because you play standard, it's any less measurement of how much fun you're having or what kind of player you are. Maybe some people got to play Heroic 3, or they got to have some crazy requirement that they got to beat the game by. I don't think that necessarily translates to more fun. You can have just as much fun playing on standard as you can on expert, as you can on heroic. Probably more fun if you're not playing heroic. But that's my hot take. I don't think making it harder means you're having more fun.
I'm in on that. I think expert's like the perfect difficulty overall for me personally. But there's people that struggle with standard. Rookie's fun if you're playing with your kids. It's short, it's sweet. Everybody has fun with that. There's people that like playing the harder difficulty, and I think a lot of those people were like the people that love throwing a hammer on their foot from playing like Arkham so long that they're used to that like grind through the scenarios.
Yeah, I played a lot of Lord of the Rings, and I've lost a lot of Lord of the Rings. And it can be fun to lose. I have a lot of fun winning, too. And this game, I like winning in this game. It just feels more superhero, right? When I play a 4-player game, which doesn't get to happen all that often, I don't want to feel like, okay, this is going to be, a 4-hour slog, and in the end, we don't win. Especially
Right.
some of my game group is real casual players. They don't own the cards. They come over and they play with my set, that sort of stuff. So, but that's not to say that those guys who are playing Heroic aren't having a great time. I like that. I guess I like that it's balanced. We've got all these different forms, and but just because it's harder doesn't mean it's any less of a game.
Right.
Any more of a game.
And if you deck build for standard, it doesn't mean that like the heroic deck build is like better than yours. It's all fun. It's co-op.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is that you can build if you're playing on a standard or lower, expert or something, and you can maybe try a jankier deck, or you can build a 50-card deck, things like that. You can try something different. You don't put in the optimized broken cards. You get to play with some other stuff. So that's I don't know if that hot take made any sense, but there it is.
Yep, it did. It made sense. All right. This one kind of plays off yours a little bit. That alpha power gamers can ruin the discussions on like social media platforms such as Discord, Facebook, Reddit, etc. There's a lot of people that play this game that what I would consider are like alpha gamers. Now, it's a small part of the community, but it's a very vocal part of the community where they want to beat every scenario on the hardest difficulty possible, right? And a lot of times, like, so I'll see as like an admin, like on these various platforms, I'll see people asking questions, right? Trying to engage with the community. And then some people are very helpful. Some people come at them with that power gamer, alpha gamer suggestions or critique, and it kind of shuts them off, like hey, I built this cool deck, and then somebody rips them apart, and it's like they're trying to build a fun thematic deck like to play with like their spouse who never played a card game before. I just think sometimes we, as like the people that came from like a competitive background or are more experienced with card games, we need to try to limit like that brashness, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you.
If that makes sense to like people asking questions or looking for help.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you there. And that's true for any game. I think the veteran power gamers are generally more vocal. And as a community, some of us geeks and nerds, and I'm just as susceptible to it, is we're kind of a we're real critical
At Critical Encounters.
Yeah, you'll hear us on our show. We'll be like, "Oh, this thing is too easy," and then you'll hear us say, "But I've never won against it," or something along those lines, right? Like, I haven't beaten it on expert or something. But we like to be a little more critical sometimes, just in general on theme of stuff, or we have we're unforgiving, and that can come out as a power gamer too. Why are you playing Surveillance Team? It's a terrible card. Put in this card, you dummy. Like, that's not the kind of help a new player needs. That's the kind of thing a power gamer sometimes doesn't even realize that they come across that way, maybe, because it just makes they've been playing so long, or they've come from that competitive background, and it might, turn off a new player or a casual player.
No, I got, like, in general, this community is pretty good about it, and I don't want anybody to think that like I'm accusing people of like being assholes. Because I think for the most part, people don't realize they're doing it,
Sure.
But it's just something like to be aware of, like with this game especially, like the casual focus, the casual nature, the accessibility of it, and all like there's a lot of people asking questions, and I know people get annoyed like that people ask the same different people ask the same questions over and over again, but it's like these people are all at different points, like in their journey, right, through Marvel Champion set. I just try to bear with them and help them out, and they'll get there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it's just a thing that sometimes you might notice, or the person who might not even mean it that way comes across a little different because you're reading it compared to what they're typing in, right? And if you were talking to them, it would be a completely different thing. And so I'm going to bring it up again. Lord of the Rings, 9 years in, there are people who are just starting to play that game. Me. And it's done, right? I mean, the last pack is in my house. There's no more cards coming, and people just getting into it. So you have people asking those questions from the core set, like how does this work or how does that go? And that Lord of the Rings community has evolved over 9 years, and it's super friendly, and everybody's helpful to the new guys. And the Marvel community we're a year in, and I think it'll mellow. People, it'll get there. We'll all be, learn that it's a community game. It's cooperative, and we're supposed to be heroes. Right. So it'll get there. I remember a long time ago, the Lord of the Rings, some of the forums, FFG forums, were had the same like power gamer stuff, or wouldn't help a new player, or things like that, and that's all gone. Things mellow out, and it gets better as we find our footing.
Right. Like in general, like I think the Champions community is pretty good overall. And like the people that do that, I don't even think realize they do it.
Yeah. Like we're all human, right? So.
Yep. I mean, I probably did it at some point.
I probably just did it in the last 10 minutes. I didn't mean to. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. All right, you got a last one?
Yeah, I got one I just thought of. I think that leaks, like big leaks, not the official spoilers, but I think leaks are bad for the game and bad for the community. I think they not only do they like ruin the surprise of the reveal, not only does it like mess up FFG's marketing, they might have less incentive to give us live streams or to do release articles. I think it puts undue pressure on maybe the design team or the marketing team at FFG. And I think what does it for me is I think it really kind of deals away that magic of like that Christmas morning awe where the community as a whole gets to open up a pack and say, oh, wow, look what we got now. And we can all talk about it at the same time. We can all be discovering it together. Well, a leak like the Quicksilver that just came out, some people are going to avoid that. Some people aren't. But when the Quicksilver does come out, a lot of people have already gone through that. They're not going to be talking about it. It's old news to them. So it disconnects the community from itself and from the game.
Right. I agree. I'm in on that. I think that in general, for the most part, leaks are bad for the community because, like you said, sorry, right? All like Amazon sold those packs early, like of Quicksilver. So those images of all those cards are available multiple places. You can find them if you look for them. I'm sure if it's not already, those cards have been uploaded to TTS, and people are already playing Quicksilver, right? So he's not supposed to come out until February, right? So they're getting this pack 3 months early to play with, 2 months early. So by the time Quicksilver comes out, they're burned out on Quicksilver already, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, we need more heroes. I don't have anything to play." It's like, well, you just played with something that was unreleased for 2 months, you know?
Yep.
So I mean, like everybody likes like spoilers, right? Like the spoiler season, like when FFG hooks up like the content creators with spoilers, like that's a fun time. Like in the community, FFG's giving us like sneak peeks at what's coming. But when the whole thing is like, bah, here you go, like somebody screwed up somewhere and hit a button they shouldn't have hit, and stuff gets out early like that.
I'm not talking cool. Spoilers. Official FFG spoilers are one thing and I think that's good for the community. That's building the hype. People want to see that because you start to get spoilers. The pack's coming.
Right.
You get 1 or 2 cards, and the community and people can talk about one or two cards, how that integrates with the rest of the card pool. A leak, here's the whole pack. Like I said, by the time he's supposed to be out, people have already theory crafted or built decks for him 100 different ways, and those people who don't want the leaks or who aren't seeking them out, gonna kind of, I don't know. There's these two little stages that community gets split in half. I gotta tell you, Marvel. I don't know. You played a lot of Destiny. I didn't play any Destiny, but it seems like Marvel has more leaks than some of their other games ever had. I don't know, 9 years of playing Lord of the Rings. I don't remember any leaks not like this. Not like with the here's the list of all the names of cards that are coming out. Here's Quicksilver's pack. Like some other stuff. Didn't we have some other leaks recently too? Somebody else was sold early.
Somebody bought a Doctor Strange pack on eBay like months before that came out, and like was posting the cards like on Discord.
So I don't know what it is about Marvel that they get out there. So when a game like Lord of the Rings, I don't know, I never saw, maybe a store would sell a pack a week early or something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, like in Destiny, most of this stuff, like, we would know like a set's coming, we would know some cards in it, but then like distributors or stores would get it early, right? And then people, like the people in the store that are trying to sell singles, would crack the packs open, and then they'd like post the cards, right? But it was never like months in advance, like the distributor or Amazon like shipping packs early. I think maybe what some of it is like Marvel's such like a hot commodity, right? So you get like these people in these warehouses with these boxes full of Marvel stuff, and they're like, oh hey, check this out, and they like swipe one or two.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's like legitimately happening, but I mean, somebody got Hulk and Doctor Strange early, and somebody is shipping Quicksilver early in the UK. So obviously, and also the same, I'm not sure if it was Amazon UK, but for Marvel Crisis Protocol, there's Angela and the Enchantress character packs. They were supposed to come out in like January, February. Also in the UK, were like being shipped in like October through a UK distributor. So I mean, it's not just Marvel, or it's not just Champions.
Not just Champions. I do, now that I'm thinking about it, I do remember Target put out Keyforge like a month ahead of time. Like there's a SKU issue or something, so a bunch of, I don't know, maybe it was the second cycle box was out early.
The worst that they had.
Yeah. I do think that in general the community does a pretty good job of isolating the leaks, though. Like the Discord has the leak channel. The leaks go in there. Spoilers go in the spoiler channel. People on Facebook, at least I didn't notice on Facebook all the Quicksilver. Now maybe you guys, the admins, there's a couple different Facebook groups. Maybe you get admins like snip that in the bud, or people put them in comments. So that's nice. I think that has to continue, and I think the community does a pretty good job of policing itself of leaks, going leaks. So if you don't want to see that, you're not hit with it, right? So
right, yeah. On Facebook, we have like a policy that say like spoiler images and comments,
right.
So like if you want to see the Quicksilver cards, like you can find them on Facebook. If you want the Quicksilver cards, you can find them on Discord too. You just go to the leaks channel and
go to the leaks channel. Yep.
But it is contained so that the people that don't want to see it don't have to see it, but the people that do want it can find it if they look for it.
Yep.
Alrighty, so we'll start to wrap this thing up. A couple things real quick. We have a couple Discord questions. Kennedy Hawk wants to know which card in the game has the best art, and you're not allowed to say Winter Soldier. So which card do you think has the best art?
I know. Hey, I make sure I get it right. What do you think it is?
I think Black Knight's got some sick art to it.
Yeah, his is pretty good.
I'm gonna go with Black Knight. I mean, it's ripped from a panel, but so that's probably cheating. But I'm gonna go with Black Knight.
I like. So I'll make sure I get the name right. I like Hard as Nails, the Crossbones Treachery, and it is a piece of art. It's not ripped from a panel. It just has this look of Crossbones with this, like, you could tell some explosion just went off kind of in the back, and it's just this wispy smoke. And he's just stalking towards the reader. I think that's a great piece of art. So
cool. Kennedy Hawk also wants to know, what is your favorite ongoing comic in Marvel currently? Are you current on Marvel Comics at all? Are you reading anything at the moment?
When I read, I jump all over the place so that I am up to speed on whatever villain we are doing on the show. So I'm not like doing Empire, House of X, or Avengers Assemble or whatever. So I'm usually reading a couple pieces here, a couple pieces there. And right now I just finished some Crossbones reading, and I'm not reading anything currently, so I don't really have an answer for this one.
The most recent run I read was like the Avengers run, because like Moon Knight is like my favorite Marvel character, and the whole Age of Khonshu arc was centered around like Moon Knight, so that was pretty awesome. And I am about to jump into the King in Black, which is like the next like big event. It's like the King of the Symbiotes or whatever. So I'll be starting that, but just finished like the Moon Knight focused Avengers stuff.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to read more. That's just in general. So
yeah. Well, like most of my time spent reading anymore is reading to my kids, children's books. When they're old enough, we'll transition to comic books. But
yeah. How old are your kids?
5, 3, and 1.
Oh, so a lot of Goodnight Moon and Sandra Boynton stuff.
Yeah, like there's like a Little Blue Trucks. I mean, my kids, my 5-year-old likes a lot of different stuff. They read Tractor Mac. We're starting the 5-year-old to read. My wife's been reading like short chapter books with him.
Cool.
I mean, all our kids like reading. They all grab books. Even the 1-year-old will go to the bookshelf and find the book she wants and come over to us for us to read it to her. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Spartacus N7 wants to know, are there any characters you can't quite figure out how to pilot effectively?
Hulk.
Hulk. You can't get Hulk.
I can't get Hulk, and I've looked at like Drew, I think is his name on Marvel CDB. He's got a deck there that's like Hulk's so easy anyone can do it, except for me.
Except for me.
Except for me. Something about Hulk. He's that one hero that's like I tried a couple times, and I think he'll just be sitting in the box because I don't get him. I don't get it.
I'm gonna say. I'm trying to think. I think Spider-Woman can be harder to pilot than what people would think. To like effectively use her hero ability. Takes a little more effort than you would think. So I think like cracking her early on, or Miss Marvel. I know a lot of people, like not me. Yeah, not me personally. I get every hero.
You're not saying that. Good.
Yeah, I'm just that good. No, I'm not. Just saying that Miss Marvel. I know people. She's a tougher nut to crack for people, but when they do, and that switch flips, she's super strong. It's just
I agree with both of those. Spider-Woman's she's the extra level of complication with the two schemes and making sure you're utilizing your ability well. And then, yeah, Miss Marvel, you know, because a lot of players, I think, me included, at a certain point, you want to go to hero mode. You just want to stay a hero because that's where you want to do everything. But you got to figure out, how do I make use of her flipping as best as I can? And once you figure out that flip, how, when, and all her little personas and everything, she can be a lot of fun. That's why I think like Ant-Man's a lot of fun, because you can do all this flipping and you get to do stuff. And the more you touch your cards, the better. So
yeah.
All
right. Here's the second part. What is your most difficult encounter? So the toughest. So we'll say on expert, right? What is the toughest scenario you can play on expert for you?
Should have given me some of these questions ahead of time, man.
Sorry. Well, this one like just popped up on Discord like it was like an hour ago, but still.
I don't have a difficulty with any of them whatsoever. Except for probably expert mutagen. I still think that a pretty tough start. So if you get a bad start, it can be pretty difficult. I'm thinking of them with just like their suggested modular sets.
Right. I think for me it's Kang. I think I've lost to Kang more than anything else.
Yeah, I've done all right against Kang. I haven't played him a ton. I only played him solo once. Other than that, there have been 2-player games or 4-player games. He's fun though. I like the getting split up, and there's a little bit of, in our group, there's a little bit of boasting or pride if you're the guy who finishes off your Kang first to come to the rescue. I'm coming to your rescue. Don't worry, I got you. I got your back. Like, so, I like being able to be the guy who finishes off his Kang first and can come save the other guys.
Right. Yeah, that is like, it's just a fun scenario. I did see on the Facebook group earlier, somebody came up with a custom campaign, and it's Kang focused, and like the first scenario is Claw with I think it's Master of Time? No, it's Master of Time and Future Weapons, I think. And then he's like a campaign log, and then you use like one of the Red Skull like upgrade cards, and you can add it to your deck. And then like the second scenario is the Red Skull with the Anachronauts, and it also uses the Taskmaster captured by Hydra cards. You use that as a modular set, those four side schemes, so those get thrown in the side scheme deck. And then after that you play against Kang with I forget what it is, but it was like a cool.
Yeah, that's neat. You see him, and eventually you realize he's the big baddie.
Yep. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and it's like he sends you like to an alternate reality to like fight the Red Skull, right? And his Anachronauts, and then you can save the allies from the Red Skull campaign there, and add them to your deck, and then you go fight Kang at the end. And like it uses the Red Skull like campaign cards and stuff. So like it was a pretty neat campaign this guy put together. If I find it in time, I will link it in the show notes as well, so that people can find that, because he has it all written out in a Google Doc. I just got to find it.
Yeah, that's neat. Where it's not really, it's custom content, but you're not using any custom cards. It's just custom play. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. I found it here. So then, so I'll be able to I'll link that in the show notes for people that are interested in the Marvel Champions Kang focus campaign. Alrighty, so that was it for questions. One last thing I want to hit on. This will be the 17th episode of the side scheme published. And also December 13th is 1 year since the side scheme put out an episode. So this is the 1 year birthday, basically, of the side scheme.
Happy birthday, man. Way to go. Congratulations.
Thanks. Who would have thought? But yeah, it's been a good ride so far. I've had a lot of fun, being a part of the community and offering what little I can to both of our listeners and the 5 people that read the articles. So,
well, I'm glad I could be one of the listeners.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there, and we'll wrap this thing up. So I will give you a chance to plug some stuff, and we'll get out of here.
So, Critical Encounters on Facebook, Critical Encounters, Marvel Champions podcast. You can find us on any of your podcatchers. But I also want to mention real quick, we have coming up on the 15th, this next Tuesday, because I'm pretty sure this episode will be out before then. We're going to be twitching a live campaign. We're going to start our 3-player campaign with Daniel, Mike, and I, the Red Skull, Rise of Red Skull. So we're gonna take that on in expert mode, see how it goes. That'll be our first live Twitch for Marvel officially through the podcast. Mike and Daniel have a Monday night Twitch that they always do. It's mostly Lord of the Rings and sometimes Arkham as well. And also coming up, and we'll probably mention it on our show at some point, is the League of Cooperative Gaming Con, the Return of the Kang, which is going to be a Lord of the Rings / Marvel Champions LCG dual virtual con using Discord. So there's the League of Cooperative Gaming server. This will be the 3rd con weekend that we've run. And we're going to have a bunch of Lord of the Rings going on, a bunch of Marvel going on. There's some various custom cards that you can play. It's all virtual, so it's TTS or Octagon. And you can play other games too. It's just a good time to get together and have a bunch of people play. And if you check our Facebook page, we will have some information of that coming up. But it is the weekend of January 21st, I want to say. I think that's right. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm talking with Tommy and Mike, and we are gonna try to host an event with some Battle World themes for Marvel Champions. So I'll just leave that there for everybody to munch on. Yeah, so go check out Critical Encounters and that podcast they had with producer Molly Glover. Check out their campaign stream when they do it. I will have their website linked in the show notes, and also that Kang custom campaign linked in the show notes for anyone interested. So for Steve and Tommy of Titan, fly fishing on Titan, I'm BananaCrapshoot. Stay scheming. Champions.
An ant has no quarrel with a boot.
So that's it, man. That was it. Thanks for being here for the birthday podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.